We're going to be asking the question, why did OpenText buy EMC's enterprise content division? Now, after buying HP's customer management software unit earlier this year, in a predictable move, OpenText has actually agreed to acquire Dell's enterprise content division, including Documentum, for $1.62 billion in a deal that the companies say will allow them to focus on their core missions. So, Scott, we've talked about this before. What's kind of your position on this right now? What are your thoughts? And we'll just start there.
Yeah, I think this is an interesting acquisition. First of all, I believe that Documentum is, well, sorry. So let's back up for just a second. Yep. What did they buy? Right?
Yeah, exactly. That's the question. What actually?
Exactly. Yeah. The division they bought within EMC is really primarily headed up by Documentum. So there's a couple of other products in there, but Documentum is the one that this audience would be most concerned with. Mm-hmm. And essentially, they, on the purchase, they paid about 2.7 times revenue, which is interesting considering that
a couple of years ago, that number sounds pretty similar.
A little more than a couple, yeah. But yes, back 13 years ago in 2003, when I was in this particular space, Documentum was acquired by EMC for the exact same amount of money. Essentially, at that time, there was 8 times revenue, and now it's only 2.7 times revenue. Yeah. So, did EMC make out? I'm not so sure.
Okay. Question is, why'd they sell them? Why did they get rid of it right now?
Yeah, look, I don't know that the EMC Documentum marriage was really ever made to last. Alan Pell-Sharp wrote a quick brief on this, quite frankly, the most popular post that we have on our site in the last few months on this exact topic. And his point is that this marriage was never really meant to last in the first place. I mean, EMC is all about storage. They want you to gather more and more stuff. They want you to keep it all. And whereas in the Documentum space, they're much more about being kind of smart about that, about kind of keeping only what you need, discarding the rest of it. So it kind of never seemed like those two really were, they were kind of always at odds.
Well, you mentioned that they're always at odds. It's 13 years now. What took so long, really?
Yeah. Again, I always kind of felt like they didn't ever really have their place. Documentum didn't really have their place at EMC. I mean, we've seen a number of marriages that we've talked to in this space about some acquisitions where even sometimes it's tail wagging the dog, where they come in, the smaller organization comes in and the leaders take leadership positions. Really, when Documentum came in, leadership kind of left and it never really found its place. It was fairly standalone, off and on its own. And I don't think it was really given the resources it could use to go and really propel itself forward. Going forward, though, I think interesting thing about this is this leaves now OpenText really pitted against IBM as the two big kind of behemoths in the space, IBM having FileNet, and then not to forget, actually, Box, which is considered by many to be kind of the future of the enterprise content management market. And Box and IBM have been kind of, good love partners lately. They've been doing an awful lot of work together. So we'll see what happens with those two. But really just 3 big players in the space now.